So you notice before technology, before people really defined thought and what thoughts are, dreams, another way of looking at night thoughts, uncontrollable, although controlled in the confines, could be a way of exploring the boundaries to see when a mind is ready, developing. Dreams is more about developing what you've learned. It's an interesting thing. The mind is a very strange thing. You think that it's all about, so we could say frequencies, channels, conduits, doesn't matter. We will say the genius, we'll call it genius. But it always goes from one direction to another. So if we say carbon dioxide, yes? You in the middle, based on outside influences, can tell you that's a very bad thing, yes? It keeps you in this bandwidth. So your mind can look at it as bad. Death. What else do you associate with it? Extinction, yes? I'll draw a tombstone around that. But in your own mind, you can go two ways. You can look at it as life. You can look at it as, rather than extinction, expansion. And rather than being bad, it then becomes good. Problem is with that, the mind will look at that as good, this looks at it as bad, but the middle factor, being you, should ask a question of why. Why, what, and how. Why will that cause extinction? Why would that cause expansion? There's the question. You ask the decent question. Why, what, and how? Why will that cause extinction? Well, because too much CO2 to certain life forms, is a bad rap. What will that cause? Well, death to all life forms. And how will that come about? You understand? How? Well, if we don't do anything about blah, 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 blah. Then we could ask, how does that cause expansion? Well, we reverse the opposite way. We understood the word some life forms. Some life forms, Loify boy, is, we're going to say humans here. But humans get on a bandwidth of just humanity. And it's that superiority which is deadly. Well, humans cut down trees. That can give you how, which can decrease CO2. And then what would you need to achieve that? A habitat. How could we achieve more expansion? By waking nature up in the winter. If most of the world, nature goes, it doesn't really sleep. It's not a true word. It doesn't really sleep. It hibernates, yes, but it focuses on roots. It's still growth, but growth in a very strange way. But what it's not doing is converting gases in this dormant stage that we're in. And then you could utilize this, but then you can ask a question of how can I make this expand life by converting CO2 into O2, which is beautiful. If we were to wake up, so we then have to go, some life forms rest, go dormant, a bit like volcanoes is interesting. And this factors on light. This factors on heat. Or we could say cold, again, cold. Now, this is just one bandwidth of thought. The main process is here. Not all of this. This is backstory to what I'm trying to explain. Now, if we were to build a biome, how could we expand life by eliminating this factor? When we read it constantly, it keeps us in this, oh no, panic, shit, fucking hell, we can't think for ourselves. What are we going to do? Oh no, hope somebody else is sorting it out. Because your life is in a rhythm of, let's say, this one. So you're supporting your life of work or existence. What is existence? This particular frequency here. What do I need to maintain this frequency here? The frequency we could look at as, I don't want to call it bad, but because you understand it as bad and good. So your existence is on the same way. We're hardwired. Our brain is a frequency measure to protect us against extinction, fight or flight, but it works in a very strange way. It gets data from the environment and the world that you live. That's if you let it. So that is reality, and then you have the quantum side of it. Mm-hmm. So you could say QR. Mm-hmm. So your reality is feeding your quantum, which then keeps you on this, the good and bad ratio. If I don't do something, that's bad. Mm-hmm. If I do something, that's good. And you want to try and stay on the good side of everything and keeping all of these plates spinning on one side and never mind the rest. Those ones spin on their own as long as you're spinning these ones here. The moment this drops, those ones you have to maintain, and this becomes the bad. So if I don't do that counter reaction, this, again, why? Why would that happen? Well, because I didn't. And then I got to maintain this, and then I've got a friend group, but I've got to maintain this friend group, and I've got to keep up appearances. Again, that's good. What happens if I don't have that? Well, I feel this, and the mind is on a lot of these. You can tweak this at will. Mm-hmm. That's what genius is. Genius is basically, if you want to give it the layman's terms, is I will not get stuck on one of these. I will shift, no matter what it is. And then you look at it from the middle, which you could say the neutral point, but it's not technically neutral. And then you begin to assess which way. And even your so-called bad, which it isn't bad, it just means change. That means change. Something will have to change. Maybe you need to adjust to a different frequency. But we like repeated patterns. We like to be in this optimal zone. Optimal zone to an everyday Joe is this frequency. Optimal zone to a government might be this zone. An optimal zone to someone that's dealing with cars is this, to that, to this. What looks like bad? Electric cars. Oh shit, well I have to, oh no, it's not the same. Oh, change, shit. It creates this panic mode. And all panic mode really is the body kicks up. Again, into optimal mode. You would think that it's not. Adrenaline. Why do you think we increase in adrenaline? People everywhere goes, oh, it's really bad for you. It's bad for you. It's not. What happens when you start running? Well, you're telling the body what? Hunt time. Something's happening. Chase me. Something's coming. The mind is trying to catch up with this. There might be a threat here somewhere. Usually humans don't run. And then you are hardwiring the brain. So it kicks up a gear and kicks up with adrenaline. And obviously we use this now as a high. We say a high. This gets fascinating, by the way. So yeah, when we ask these questions of create a biome, if we do nothing and leave it the way and we continue on this trajectory, this is the outcome. Yeah. But it doesn't mean extinction, not truly. It means extinction for some life forms. Yeah. Other life forms will flourish in that. They will make do with that. Because whereas they couldn't externally do something about their fate, they did it internal, which is, you need a lot of time to do that. Yeah. Humans have not been around long enough. Life forms in this area have not adjusted to the changes that have already happened. It's gone off in different directions. Hence the mind. The mind is more developed. It should be then, that's why humans have an advantage. We have this inner mechanism that would usually have to do this. So plants don't have this inner-outer mechanism. They've got an inner mechanism. I need to create this change, predict this outcome, formulate across this path, and if the environment does this, this, and this, I will go this, and this mode. At the same time, it's like this, but it's predicted. You see, I think nature's one is long-term prediction. Some insects have this as well. Long-term weather prediction is outstanding. So just by observing the ladybirds this year, you notice they did something very strange just before summer ended. And they were seeking out a bit more deeper structure, and admittedly, it snowed. Okay, for a few days, but it got colder than it usually does. Compared to last year, for instance, they were happy to be corrugated outside. This time they wanted to come deeper. They can be hard frozen up to 15 below zero. That's how far they can go. However, they don't mind 5, but -5 is they have to spend time adjusting to that, and they don't get a head start in spring, summer. And their survival is getting a head start.
Yeah.
So if they don't have to exert energy on thawing out where they can help it, then they can conserve that energy and utilize it to be wide awake and ready and raring to go. Basically, one's been told to get your shoes and that ready when I come home, said Mum, and the other one's, last minute. These ones should be ready to get going and will reach their, place where they need to be on time, whereas these ones, it's going to be a few minutes late because it's last minute. That's the only difference, and their advantage to that, to breed, which then creates more life. So that's why they seek out. That's their prediction. Nature is a bit more than that. It's prediction of gases and world changes. It's very good at predicting that long term. You see, that's all done internally. Humans have it internally, and we also got it externally. What's that? Your brain. Your brain is a secondary version of this internal fight or flight survival mode. I will make body adjustments internally, and you don't need to do anything. But no, you've got two mechanisms, maybe 3, perhaps 4. But again, we're getting a little bit far of ourselves. So we have a external with the mind, which is internal, which is interesting, and we have our body, which we'll call evolution. And evolution, obviously, in the human understanding, that structure is aware enough to know enough that on its own, it can't fight whatever is coming. There isn't enough time, there isn't enough this, but there was enough time to create this secondary. What's the secondary? This. Being able to do something about your fate, where your body, which is really clever in itself. So the collection of ingredients that come together to create humans is a lot different. So younger life forms, more intelligent than the older ones. That's interesting. However, the older ones are relying on this too. The more the universe progresses and the more the changes happen, the more and more intelligent, resistant the life becomes. Humans have a little bit of an advantage, or humanoid creatures, intelligent creatures, have the advantage. They have this external mechanism that can do something for the internal mechanism. So perhaps nature, and I'm going to use that very lightly, because it relies on us as it has selflessly been giving to us. It's almost like all the life forms come together and were like, made a decision. Maybe we could do this a bit better if we made intelligent life. And you never know, nature could be the key to it. It would be a weird thing to get rid of nature and slowly but surely start to do this, E-number version. Let's make chemical reactions and let's get rid of nature. Fuck it. All the other life forms, we don't need them. Blah. Grow our own meat, do this. And then slowly but surely we begin to dumb down because we didn't understand enough that nature unlocked the door. Made a certain type of chemical that we called natural in the environment. Created a frequency that we called natural in the environment until you take yourself away from it. And then slowly but surely it then begins to turn off that intelligent spark. Because, that is an interesting thing to think about. Leash effect. You can only go so far. You can go further if you take me with you. Let's hope there isn't anything like that laying around, because if there is, then it'll be an interesting thing. So nature cradles you in the fact that this external mechanism, so it clearly knows it. Now, whether that was through calculating, because it's very good at calculating, then it would have known this. But it knew it before you rose up. That is long-term prediction. It is interesting, isn't it? To think of it that way is very interesting. Why else would it go to grow berries and everything else? It doesn't actually need to. The berries are quite toxic for the plant. They rely on them being eaten, tasty, which there again uses you to spread it and as a thank you, it spreads you. So you eat the berries off of one small, very small, insignificant berry plant back in the day that was edible, and you begin to eat more and more and more, and then you're crapping it out, and it's growing more, and you're eating more, and it's growing more, and you're crapping it out. In this process, it's feeding you, keeping you alive, and yet you are helping it dominate the planet. The more you travel, well, the more it expands and it adapts to this. And that's what it's taught us. But again, we believe that it hasn't. It's fascinating when you see birds. They're the type of food they do eat. If this was with horses, but horses chew the whole stuff. And birds eat the seed, but by and large, a lot of them, they spill them out when eating. Have you noticed that? They seem to scatter a few, eat a few, scatter a few, eat a few. It seems to be deliberate. Now, these have a higher chance, their favourite stuff that they're scattering, it seems, they seem to scatter more of their favourite food than they do eat it. And again, in that process, we begin to see it grow. Our ancestors did this as well. They used to collect certain type of nuts from trees, different things, try to preserve things, dry things out, especially berries. You dry these out, they last a long time, and they are incredibly pungent. They smell incredibly nice when you dry out berries. Once again, if you forget about these, they begin to grow. It's interesting, and they seem to be more resilient. So I found on some experiments that I've done, as opposed to just chucking a strawberry somewhere, they don't seem to germinate. Dry them out, and then chuck them down. I mean, it's like a guaranteed success rate. And again, this whole byproduct of us expanding life, and it has allowed our life to expand too. Now, what else has it done? Again, we're breathing this constantly. We're breathing a lot of pollen. We're eating pollen. It's coating the planet. And we feel good in summer. Is it because it's summer? Because if it was due to the heat or the sunlight, we can mimic this. We can mimic this in the winter. But we still have this sort of, or is it nature? And that's spoiled for colour. I mean, this landscape would be very boring, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
How much colour do you really see? Not much.
Not much.
That bland. What do you feel when you see a bland planet? It bores you. I think NASA in itself, when doing the Voyager probes, I was paying attention to some of the scientists and what they were saying, right? And they say, oh, it's very bland, bit of a letdown, this and this. We had been spoiled by the intricacy of Jupiter and Saturn, and the rest were a bit more. The only time this picked back up again was when you see Neptune.
Okay.
Which, how the hell those Greek gods managed to accurately predict its colour when you can't even see it. Earth-based telescopes, so that's a little bit of intimate knowledge there. Anyway, interesting, but still, when you get to the end of the Soho, that's when it picked back up. But even still, bit of a bore. Why? Again, nature would be seen as Jupiter. All this explosion of growth, colours, whirling, moving patterns, movement, sounds. And we've been tuned to this. It's a very interesting thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And we believe that it's one another. It's one another. It's human versus human, you know. And yeah, partly that, but human versus human, or outside in the cold, or outside around no nature, outside not around colour. And you know, it's that pungent in us. That's why you like TV. How vibrant the colours.
Yeah.
If not, black and white TVs would have excelled.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
Yeah. People
In
replaced
contrast,
them when they were invented, the color ones.
Yeah.
Before that, there was nothing else. But after that.
And why? Because the black and white TV is like looking at winter.
Yeah.
Black and white.
Yeah. And some old films were colorized, that the ones that were black and white only.
And then this vibrant color and more color and more color. Wow, where's that come from? Well, it's come from nature and its flowers and its beauty when it really, that's powerful. That really affects the mind. And then there's some experiments been done as well. It's a bit morbid, but it has been done anyway. In hospitals, when you brought flowers and fruit, and the fruit, they think it's because of the vitamins and everything else, but it's usually the color. When you've been in a hospital and you see a massive fruit bowl with all that color in it, what does it make you feel? Something, warmth, some sort of summer, some sort of pungent knowing comes from it. It almost seems to enhance us. That's why I don't believe that back in the day the old shelters were, what do you call it? I don't think that they were bland. Humans don't operate on bland. And I think that their classrooms became the inside walls of their building. Again, they understood mineral content, and even with ash on sticks, half-burnt sticks you can draw with, and then you burn it again, blow it out and draw again. This is your first modern day. And if your roof's protected good, which I believe they did, I think they had a fascination with mud. The mud didn't crumble down, and it was quite strong as long as it never got wet. So if you surrounded it in protection, mud stays really good. I think they would have used this, and then they would have developed clay and different things like that accidentally, and different things like that. Tried burning it probably, and it turned into a hard lump, hard mass. Anyway, so bringing nature in to a biome does a lot of things. It can also be deadly. Don't get me wrong. Well, I don't think it can. If NASA is breathing in, around 87% oxygen saturated, then I think it's more than that. Then that shows you that you can survive on quite potent oxygen supply. I think that soon they're going to be, archaeologists are going to be digging up giants, giant humans. I just believe this because of the giant dinosaurs, and then freaking dragonflies. This big. Butterflies. Huge. Centipedes, millipedes, whatever you want to call them. These were very big. Trees. Huge trees. The trees are far bigger. And that's even the turn of the Ice Age. They were huge. They were huge. Which would indicate that the star was pumping out a different type of radiation. You notice in radiation in certain areas, the trees grow thicker in the area that they're faced with the radiation. Their growth seems to rapidly excel. Well, there was, after the Edwardian time, a gamma ray burst. And perhaps scientists theorized that there would be a great big gamma ray burst, a great big light, which is true, and disintegrates the planet in that burst. Yeah. That's the intense moment. That's you hit the wave at this moment, and then what follows afterwards? This is going to be following afterwards. That first intense moment is like the shockwave of it. Doesn't mean that gamma ray burst has stopped. It just means that you can't see it because the intensity of it, and that causes events that the Nautilus crab and everything else and whatever else. Wait, can't remember what it's called now. There are a few extremophiles that survive that, and it's due to them going down into the depth, coming back up and ducking off down. Radiation didn't get that far, but most of anything else on the surface died down, and it's good for these because they're kind of technically bottom feeders anyway, so they would have. And then you've got the things that are in the depth of the ocean. Nothing's by accident. Life starts in the ocean because it has longer to come together and uninterfered. Whereas opposed on the land, it's a little bit more interfered with. Think about it, it's more sensitive to star fluctuation, it's more sensitive to gamma ray bursts. In the depths of the ocean, it's not so much. It's affected, yes, but not at that intensity. So we would reverse the graph for anything that's in deeper areas. Hydrothermal vents are going to be built with this sort of level anyway, and this is where things mainly come together anyway. Life seems to scatter away from these. Anyway, that burst is probably still interfering with us right now. It was funny, when I was looking at Betelgeuse, the way that it's throwing things at the planet, it's almost like things are coming out of that star and they are reaching us already. So that would, I don't know what that's traveling at. It looks like there's something coming out of it. Depends on the camera, by the way. You remember when I was showing you that? And I was aiming this camera at those Betelgeuse it was, and then following that along, and there's a lot of stuff seems to be coming from there. Now, factor that into this, to this. This is either A, going to be changing the way that we are. Anyway, so radiation back then must have been stronger. And yeah, I think it would have been a bit more initial burst, and then this sort of constant frequency at a level that was good enough for all. This creates change, no doubts, no ifs, no buts, no maybes. But that level of radiation, if it's true with nature that it starts to grow big, then what other life forms begin to grow very big? Huge, in fact. And you could look at that as coming from ocean, couldn't you? All that pressure. And then this lack of pressure, you're going to... all that time you've spent keeping yourselves quite small due to the pressure. And if you were to take... it's really strange, isn't it? If we were to take an anglerfish at the depths and bring it up, and it were to survive in some weird fluke, the next generation that it had, let's say 2, or a hermaphrodite survived, whatever... the next generation is going to be huge, because it's going to be trying to grow like it was still in the depth. You know, when we were talking about removing the water from the depths, and it quadruples, like massive. Let's hope you never live to see something like that, because then Earth becomes truly a water world. If Earth smooths over with all the valleys under the ocean especially, or there's a pit emerge, a depression, a very big one, and it, rather than it being a deep trench, it creates more of a... Or, to think of the worst, Mariana Trench then becomes a mountain range. The water is going to increase threefold because the pressure needed to compact it. You think about it, it's like a never-ending suitcase, that the more isotopes you get, the more pressure is needed. Therefore, you've shrunk a volume, a large volume down. You've compressed it. Probably be like a DVD, CD versus Blu-ray or HD something or other. You know, the compressing the data to be able to get more on, zipping it. Compress it, you get more on the disk. Compress it, you get more water in a very small space. If that, it's, I don't know, it's like trying to vacuum press a sheet that is the size of a football stadium into a cube. Doesn't look like much. Well, that's really quite dense, quite heavy. Don't get me wrong. Very small and very heavy for what it is, the size. And if you were to undo it and a sheet explodes to the size of a football stadium, that's the equivalent of the water. And then that's going to explode into already a sheet of water. Let's say another sheet the size of a football stadium is the average water. Now times 2 it. It's incredible, isn't it? Anyway. So yeah, I think with when archaeologists get digging, they're going to find some big humanoids. Everything else was big. Trees were big. Humans were around them. They were big too. Very big. And that could be related on radiation. And then as some changes happen in our star, so each time it changes through the stages. I don't know if you know that the star changes nuclear activity as it evolves. The intensities become sometimes more, sometimes less, but it changes. And that changes the life on the planet, which is interesting. So it can make it smaller. If there's less of this, then there's going to be less stretch, less of this. Larger amounts of oxygen to a carbon vessel. I think that's impressive. That's a lot of expansion. And again, if we go to space, do you think we get big first before we get small? Because we've been fighting against most of that pressure, and we just don't realize it. Here, the atmosphere is very heavy. Yes, we're going to be making pressure in a module, but again, there's that gravity as well. It's got to let go of that gravity, isn't it? If it's no longer there, and it's no longer pulling on you, that growth, you're going to have a growth spurt. You're going to become a giant. There's no ifs or buts about it. So that's quite an interesting sort of way. Or perhaps the atmosphere was weaker, thinner. That gamma ray burst caused it to expand the atmosphere. Things have to grow bigger. Well, actually, about the same size. However, if that gas then decreases, the evolution is not exactly perfect. Those life forms are going to grow pretty big because they've got nothing to weigh them down. nothing pulling them down anymore, nothing, an atmosphere pressing down on you. So you expand all of a sudden. Let's see if you can survive it. Don't get me wrong, that's a hell of a survival. It seems like the life forms seem to have already calculated that. Anyway, so let's say we take nature. So yeah, archaeologists, I think, will probably find large humans.
Yeah.
Everything else was large, wasn't it? So I think that, in that, I think there's potential that there must be somewhere in the rock layers somewhere, perhaps if the oceans move, because that's before Ice Age, isn't it?
Yeah.
Perhaps we're going to find some very big, well, whether it survived in the ocean or not, who knows? Depends if it got surrounded by the right stuff. Some very big life forms. Man, what the hell leash is this? Well, they were walking T-Rexes. And again, the food would have been... They would have eaten this. Expand a cow or expand a chicken. It looks like a frickin' T-Rex, doesn't it?
Okay.
Which is kind of interesting. But still, yeah, so I think the more you go, the more you'll find. But again, on a very changing environment, that seems unlikely that you'll find a lot of these, and it leaves you guessing. Anyway, so again with the mind, you see, I don't know if you noticed that, I was jumping into future, past, government, everyday. I'm jumping into different mind influences or patterns. Most people think that the exterior world influences your interior world. That's if you let it. That's if you let it. You don't actually have to let it. You don't try and push it back. I'm getting to grips on that. Could you imagine harnessing in on these events or mind frequencies? So you say if they made a device that goes into the mind. There's another one. There is also the creator. So we go about every day. Back in the day, it seems that there was a signal that was more stronger back to our ancients. And that was spirituality, let's say. We'll call it that. Religion, spirituality. And the truth in all of this is that these individuals came together and they were exchanging their belief systems with one another, which then got the others to go away and sort of refine their belief system. When things divide, it's separate. It is conquered. And slowly but surely, because they're so separate, they begin fading out. That's the way it is. And then that signal perhaps then begins to water down. Human signal, the number one signal, do you know what it is?
No.
Awake. Reality. Reality is the strongest signal in the human brain, is reality. That is the strongest signal, is reality. And that formulates your eyes, your ears. And again, reality can be a good reality, or in your belief, it can be a bad reality. Yes. But reality, nonetheless, is your strongest signal. Is that right? The thing that you remember the most is the things that have happened to you. Therefore, that would be called ego. That is ego, right? That's small-scale ego that is mainly your life. That a large part of your mind is filled up with your life, your events, your challenges, your breakthroughs, your setbacks. That's what we say when we say ego, not alter egos or expanded egos that I've got this, I've got that. No, the mind works on an ego. It's interesting. So your reality mixed in with what? Can we be honest and say about 20% of your family? About 20%, maybe 30%. And family being all the people that you've been with, friends, relatives, lovers, partners, mum, dad, sister, brother, cousin, nephew. These bits sort of fill in there, but majority of it is you. Yes, that your life. You have. That's one of the most strongest frequencies. So could you imagine this though? That that's your frequency, reality, mixed in with a little bit of quantum. Oh, you never guess what? I had a really bad dream the other day. What was it about? It was about my family. Okay, could have predicted that. It's easy. You never guess what I had a dream about the other day? You your life, so I'm going to guess that it was because of... How do you know that? You know my dreams. Yes, because it's obvious. If you started dreaming about specters and God and shit like that, no, I would be, I'd pay attention to your reality a little bit more, but it's so out the blue, right? Interesting. But no, it's mainly you. What would be a nightmare for you? Losing your job, losing money, losing house, getting evicted. Oh my God, no car. That would be it, wouldn't it? Would it? That would be the most, and therefore fear could be associated with that. And what would be looked at as good is keeping all of these things, getting more of all of these things.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So that frequency at the moment is your strongest. And that would then be called existence, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's because that one is tuned to insult your feeling. You feel that pen.
Yeah.
Your eyes, you flinch.
Yeah.
Sounds, you hearing that?
Yeah.
What about smells?
Yeah.
Taste, eating, hunger, loss, love, hate, envy, rejection, acceptance. All of these sort of... So those keep you in that... That's where your main focus on reality is right now. So if I went and got a chicken, got a red pen, doesn't really matter, and draw a line and made it focus on that line and left it there, the chicken will stay there.
Yeah.
If I did it with loads of chickens, they would all stay there. If I wake one, they all wake. At the moment, your life is focused and you're hypnotized on this one reality. What's beyond it? You'll say you don't know, yes? Do you think when you die, you're tuned to a different frequency, which would be an existence?
Yeah.
Or aware of that existence? You tune out of one and into another. Do you think that some people can tune into this stuff at will? See, I've been playing around with how, what, why, all of these, some, this. I've been playing with this. But you can take yourself out of that. You can also put yourself in other people's shoes with this. It's fascinating, right? And you can... There are many, and there is good and bad in both of these, which isn't really good and bad. It's just one side to the other. It's a bit like the plus and the minus, although the minus isn't negative and the plus isn't positive. So... Okay, that was interesting. That was so hypocritical. I like it. I like that. Yeah, that's good. But you can flip on these. And it's interesting, isn't it, really? Like peer pressure and groups. Lots of scientists follow around and have lots of scientific stuff around them. And this scientific stuff keeps playing a message to them. Dentistry, a lot of dentist stuff around them. It's like that crab that puts all of those decorations on its shell. You'll find any shit in the ocean and just start putting it on its shell. That's what human minds remind me of. Those things that they put on them, and it would be interesting to know what the crab thinks if it could see itself. I'm this today. Okay, now I fancy being this today. All right, I fancy being camouflaged today. It's a very interesting thing. Military individuals surrounded by military equipment sort of tells you. It's interesting, isn't it? And you can become better at it, and you can also become interesting with it. Let's say the minus, negative, the positive, the negative. Which one is the strongest? Futuristic. Life after death. I shouldn't say life. That's wrong. Existence. Or aware of existence after. And non-existence is also the opposite to existence in that scale. But it doesn't make it bad. It just makes it just, nah. So we'll understand that this, and the third point in this is the token, the talisman in the middle. Could you imagine programming this frequency at any time? What if you could make a device? Now, I ask this because it's rhetorical and it's a load of bullshit. I asked this question. I'm just teasing. Making a device that flips this frequency. I want to call it like a three-dimensional puzzle. that when the pieces start to click into place, it opens this locking mechanism, and there are many.
Yeah.
What about being a different species altogether? Never mind the ones on the planet. What about the ones you can't see? And therefore, that becomes theory. Why? Because you have nothing in your reality. Well, this band here, if you're using these sensors, which are kind of distracting, and there's a signal in us all that's been tuned out. Some of us are more in tune to that signal. Could you imagine switching anyone's brain at any time or giving them the power to press a button, and they color code each button per mindset they want? As soon as you press it, those thoughts that come into your mind, those random thoughts, you know, those ones that keep you going for most of the day, and even the ones that you don't pay attention to. What if you got a way to tap into that and begin to filter out the thoughts that don't make sense? They still are there. You can't get rid of them. You just don't pay attention to those ones, but you pay attention to a large amount of these. These type of thoughts put you into a mindset. What's that mindset? Well, scientific. Anything else outside of that doesn't fit through the shape. So if all science thoughts have a certain type of frequency to them, let's say scientific thoughts have this type of frequency. If then this frequency makes a shape that is this big, then something that's very negative might have this shape, or might be a bit this way. Let's say if you could make a receptor that was good enough to allow these thoughts in, because the scientific ones on average are the same sort of signature frequency. They give off the same sort of hum. These low ones, well, you just block the receptor and these bounce off and become static, unreadable. These ones become the ones you want, the ones that are valuable to you at the time. And everything else, it's like receptors in a brain. It's weird. It's like this being the receptor, and we're going to do this one in reverse. And here comes the thought and fires off something into the brain. It holds it for a bit, utilizes it, and then it drops off. Now imagine if you had lots of these. And you get a thought, and then you get another one. Whoops. Let's say you get another one. Now, let's say the static in the mind, the other noise, is this shape.
Yeah.
It just doesn't fit. And likewise, this one doesn't fit here.
Yeah.
They do fit here. And these ones would fit on here. However, what if these ones were blocked? Mimic these receptors, which makes it nigh on impossible for the other to even clamp down on that receptor. And awareness. Again, what if you've taught the brain very quickly that neuroplasticity is a good thing? You know, sometimes it wires together, and scientists baffle, psychologists baffle why some of the neurons fire together and some break apart. Yeah, well, I wouldn't want the receptors to hold those noises together for long periods of time. I want it to let go of it. So in grief, it's very strong, fires together, and your brain is going through a different pattern to what it wouldn't usually do. But eventually, it breaks apart, which then you find that it's no longer painful. It gets you through grief. Now, if you notice that process in your brain and sit there and play around with it and try and hold on to things and also try and let go of things. Hold on to things, let go of things. And also what's really strange is with grief, by the way, this is fascinating. At stage 1 is still there. It's just not firing and wiring together. But you can make it. That becomes the box. This box that everyone was talking about. You know, you have this big box inside your brain, and the brain puts hard information into this box. It actually doesn't. It stops the neurons, the neuron plasticity from wiring and firing together. It's still there. It's just not connected. in some circumstances, this is where depression or psychosis, maybe, these fire together temporarily, and then it causes an overdose in negative behavior, we would say. And they just got to get past that moment of until it snaps, or become more aware to disengage that. That's an interesting thing. So you honestly think that you've got over grief? No, you haven't. It's still there. It's just that the neurons haven't wired together in this way. It's gone off in a different direction now. The pull in this is more stronger. This one is still very much present. Doesn't mean that you've dealt with it. It just means that your internal mechanisms have dealt with that autonomously for you. That's interesting. Genius works on the same way as this. Choosing which ones to make stronger in the moment, and what's even more fascinating is being able to hold it. Interesting. I thought that would go in there. I thought it would go to hold, but yeah, it sort of does. But it's not perfect.
Not really.
But making it so that it creates a bridge that holds until you're finished with it, and then snapping it, and then making it into a weaker structure that you can refire into the weak, and then make it into the strong. And your thoughts are like objects that hit a certain frequency that hit into this, that hold in the receptor, and then you send more and more and more and more and more, and then the thoughts of it become clean. The static is still there, but you're not aware of it, because this one has taken center stage, because that has wired and fired together. And that's interesting, and it's interesting you can do it with anything. And it's almost like we have this in God mode. What about in death? Do you think something happens in the brain?
Something down.
It causes a large amount of energy in death. And that's an interesting thing. Anyway, but still, existence right now, it's all an illusion. This is all one big fucking illusion. It matters. It matters. But it also doesn't matter, which is contradictory, right? There is purpose. Anyway, we should run this one short for today then, and we'll pick back up on this one another time. I didn't get enough time to get more into it. You see, when making these videos, that's what I'm doing. I am firing neuron plasticity, I guess is what you would call it, where and it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Whether I choose to continue talking this way, I don't need to. I can continue this in the not scene, and I don't give everything away, by the way. But could you imagine that, having a device in the brain that could make this a will? So when I begin to talk about something, if you activated yours to the color ratio of where I'm going, you'll get it. Okay, it won't be exactly the same, but because you're now on that channel, scientists would be on a certain channel. Let me go and talk dog shit to a psychologist. Yeah? Let me talk psychology to a pharmacist. Let me talk medicine to a farmer. They're just not going to click with it, right? Because their mind is not that. So certain people begin to... But if we all had this device and we all clicked this, you'd get it. And what's more, that would change reality. Because for 4 hours of a day you're in that mindset. Another 4 hours of a day you're in this mindset. Then rest for a bit. And then go again next day is a different mindset, different mindset. And do you think that the whole of humanity could build something very quickly? The ancients knew this. This is a fascinating thing. This has been largely left. Anyway, I've really got to cut this down, but I'll just round it up on the final point. If you can get people, large people, to get into these mindsets very quickly, what I'm saying is you can fast forward humanity's trajectory. You can go more further. other life forms already done this. Guarantee it. If you thought it, something else has already done it. If you haven't done it, they've done it. If you're about to do it, they've done it. When you're doing it, then other life forms will think you've done it. And then you become the done it as opposed to the ones that are thinking about it. Could you imagine that? Then life is then purpose driven. You're not controlled by the device, but you get it. And then what's more, with that information that comes in, because it's registered in the part of the brain that's associated with this in you, it's different for everybody slightly. You go away and do your bit so flawlessly because you get it. Especially when we come to robotics, remote control robots, for me it makes it even more easier this, that you are in control of programming that to go off and do a task that supports this overall agenda, which is just a press of a button. Wouldn't that be weird? You could do this at any moment. And then does that leave us susceptible to other life forms? Could you control other life forms with this? Which the answer could be yes. You have to be close contact, but even still, that's fascinating. Anyway, right, let's leave it there because we'll touch upon this on another day. But still, fascinating, and thanks for sharing this one with me.